Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to my video on Cleopatra's Needle. Or actually, there's 3 Cleopatra's Needles. And none of them have anything to do with Cleopatra at all. So we have 3 obelisks from Egypt that were all misnamed Cleopatra's Needle. And if you can figure that one out, let me know. In the meantime, 2 of the obelisks came from Alexandria, and one went to New York City, the other went to London, and then the third one, which came from Karnak, which is the missing obelisk in front there at the Ramesses II temple, I think, but, you know, right in Karnak itself. And that one went to France. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through the stuff that I have, and I hope you enjoy the video. So here it is at its first resting site, I think the final resting site though, in New York City. And if you zoom in here a little bit, you can see these little objects here, and I think those are those oh gosh, those big beetles. Anyway, they've got pinchers on them. I'll show you a better picture. There's Alexandria, but Karnak is way down the Nile. So the one from Karnak really had to go a long ways, as opposed to the ones in Alexandria. They were just dumped onto ships. This is the one in New York City, and it is suffering a little bit of erosion due to the acid rain. And in fact, New York City has been reprimanded by Egypt, telling them that if you don't do something about it, they're going to take it back. And it still looks savable, but the hieroglyphics are slowly eroding away. Here they are loading one from Alexandria. I think they're down. Well, one of them is still standing there. And this one here came from over here, I think. Well, I don't think that's not Karnak. This is definitely, yeah, Heliopolis. Which I think, well, that's a different area, actually. But there's a big confusion, you know, between Heliopolis and Alexandria, because they were both capitals at one time or another. Oops. And also, these 2 were built by Thutmose III, whereas the one at Karnak was built by Ramesses the Great or Ramesses II. Here they are hauling the one that goes to New York. I'm not sure if it's going on the train or what, but they had to build tracks from here. They unloaded it, and then these tracks go to where it ended up at. It's the one in New York. And then there's Karnak, of course, with the missing obelisk. And it had a nice base to start with, too. Here is, this is the one at Alexandria before they took it down. So anyway, it tells here the acidity of the polluted New York City air. This is the one that went to New York, apparently. Here's the one in London, and it originally had the 2 sphinxes guarding it. And notice the beautiful base that they have for it here. Just really did it justice, you know, as compared to the one in New York, where it's just basically sitting on a block of concrete. Cleopatra's Needle. Okay, now this is the one that they're talking about in Paris. So pretend you're looking at the one in Paris. This obelisk is called Cleopatra's Needle. The obelisks in Central Park of New York and in Victoria Embankment of London are also called Cleopatra's Needle. New York's and London ones are brought from Alexandria. initially erected by Thutmose III. But this obelisk was brought from Luxor, erected by Ramesses II. The origin of the other two Cleopatra's Needle is different from this obelisk, but they are all called by the same nickname for some reason. So yeah. Here's the one in London. This is taken like late 1890s. And it really looks nice with all the old buildings there. It's even got a special, you can go up the stairs and look at it and everything. That's pretty cool. England didn't want it at first, or United Kingdom, whatever you want to call it. For some reason, they didn't want to pay the shipping or something. And then about 10 years later or something, they decided, oh, some guy came along and said, all right, I'll pay for the shipping. And they finally got it, but it was kind of a, snow. We'll take it, but only if you pay for it. These obelisks were constructed in and around 1450 BC for the pharaoh Thutmose II. Thutmose the third is generally regarded as the greatest of the kings of Egypt. Well, I always thought Ramesses II was, but... And there's Ramesses II. This is just after he was supposedly uncovered, so he must have been buried somehow. Here's one of the ones on its way to be put in the ship going from Alexandria to either London or New York. This is the one in France, and they've done a, very nice base for it here, and it's got a nice enclosure around it and everything, and, and they did a pretty good job of putting it there. And of course, they graciously took it. This is the one that came all the way from, well, they're saying Luxor, but I thought it was Karnak. So here's the one in New York City. You can zoom in on this a little bit here, and you can see the little crab claws here from that. I don't know if those are really crabs or scorpions or what. But look at this. I mean, it's just like that doesn't. I mean, just because it has these, they figured, well, I don't even know if those are original with it or not. So the base looks to me shaky, and it just doesn't look very fancy at all. And this is the one that's getting eaten away anyway. You can see that the hieroglyphics down here are really taking a beating. It's the one in New York. And in London. And it's got this really pretty work down here below on the base. So you don't see that edge down there. It looks like it's really well secured too. Here's that one on its way out of Alexandria. And you can just take a snapshot or something. And this is what all four sides say, but there is reference both to Ramesses II and Thutmose III, which I thought was strange. And from, I don't know which one this is, but this is how they loaded them onto the ships. They basically cut a hole, put it in dry dock, cut a hole, shoved it in there, fixed the hole, and then undid, that when they got to where they were going. Back in London, Cleopatra's Needle. And I must say, I think this is the best looking one too, because it's got the two sphinxes here and everything. Right by the river. Back in France. Of course, it looks justifiable. Here is, let's see. Well, I don't know whose cartouches that is, but I'm just giving you a close-up of the actual, hieroglyphics here. And that does look like a spoon. I don't know if it is a spoon. Another map. This is Heliopolis back way in the day, It was just an old nice town. In fact, Heliopolis is where there's still an obelisk there, by the way. And there it is. This is Heliopolis, the new Heliopolis. And this is one of the standing ones still there. It's never been taken down or given away or whatever. And it looks pretty decent here. This is that same one. And if you look at historic pictures, they all should show this this weathering or whatever that was, some kind of damage over there. Back in London. Very nice. These are a Karnak in the back. There's these two at least, and I don't know if there's even one more. But these really look worn out. And these are the two at Alexandria in the original configuration thousands of years ago. Pretty sure all of this was just about gone, but I don't know. They took these, and notice they have sphinxes here, and they didn't come with the obelisks. Back into New York again. And this is a really old one of the Heliopolis one, and you can see it's got the worn out part I was telling you about down here. And I don't know when that's taken, probably 1800s or something. Another drawing of it. And there it is again. This is Thutmose III cartouche. And you'll see those, you should see those all over the other obelisk, but he was the greatest king ever, right? So they're probably all over the place. But if you ever see them, that's Thutmose III. So that's all I've got on it. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day and be well.